If you run a business and you're looking to hire or scale your first ever sales team, this video is for you because I'm going to show you the 3 biggest things to look out for and the 2 biggest things to make sure you do that most business owners completely miss. And in the last 3 years, having helped scale over a dozen companies to a 7-figure run rate as a partner, I've made an enormous amount of mistakes in this area. But more importantly, I found the things that actually work every single time, no matter the industry. And so that's what we're going to be diving into together today. And I know some of you don't want to figure any of this out on your own. And for those people, I've linked a calendar in the description below. My agency is responsible for scaling dozens of businesses, as I've said, to multiple 6- and 7-figure run rates. And we're really, really good at what we do. We'll hop on a call together, kind of identify the bottlenecks and see if there's a way we can help you out. Obviously, oftentimes it's the unknown unknowns that are the main issues. But for the people who are just looking to learn, make sure you stick around for the end of the video because I'm going to be showing how those principles integrate together, which is extremely important. And then the one golden rule going into 2026 as markets continue to shift to make sure your sales team keeps performing extremely well. Without further ado, let's dive in.
All right, so key point number 1 is your actions speak louder than your words when you're a sales leader. Back in 2024, I was working with 2 other partners and we were scaling an offer. We were about 3 months in and I had just brought on 2 salespeople and we had a record month that month. We did $84,000 cash collected. And I felt huge relief because up until that point, I was the only driver of revenue. I was the only person selling. So when I realized, wow, I'm not directly attached to this, I was like, okay, I can finally take a step back and sort of look at the bigger picture. And I took 2 weeks completely off of sales. That was a huge mistake. We saw a massive performance dip during that 2-week period. And it got so bad that I was like, okay, something's wrong. I realized once I got back in the arena, I took a couple calls. My salespeople's performance boosted too. And it's because people need to see to believe, not just hear. I think a really good example of this in history is the 4-minute mile. For the longest time, nobody could break it. But as soon as the first person broke the 4-minute mile, there were immediately 6 or 7 other people that broke it within a month period. It's not that the training magically got better. It's not that they magically got in incredible shape or whatever. It was just what was possible was shifted in their mind. And sales is such an emotional game that if you start to see a dip in your own performance, you start to question, is it the leads? Is it me? What's going on? And that can drag down the entire team. But if they see you as the leader of the business, the work is not beneath you, and you continue to close even when the leads get bad, they're not going to have an excuse in their own mind, and that makes it possible for them. So some actionable ways that you can actually implement this is 1, I know you're trying to get out of sales, so you don't have to be selling 5 days a week, but just having 1 day a week where you're consistently doing the sales and you just book out your calendar, those calls are enough to keep that momentum for the rest of the team. So just 1 day a week. Second thing, and this is probably even more important, is consistently have morning meetings every morning. People need their questions answered. They need to know that you're paying attention. If they have concerns, that they need to be able to bring them up, and you're able to push that energy and get people excited at the start of the day. That's going to carry through for the rest of the day and carry through for the rest of the week as well. But literally none of that matters if you don't have point number 2, which is remove any sort of guesswork on how to approach the day for your sales reps. So another error I made personally was I could sleep in on days I didn't have early calls. I'm the type of person, I'm a little bit weird, that I can just like wake up and get on calls and it does not faze me. I don't really need like a warm up in the morning, but that does not work for your sales reps. They need consistency every single day. So the error I made was I thought we should just do morning meetings when we need them. Because if we don't need them, then there's no reason to take the time, let the guys sleep in or get ready for their day however they prefer. That also caused a massive dip in performance. And it was because they didn't have that consistency of knowing, here's exactly when our morning meeting happens. I hop on every single morning. I have that consistency. And then after the morning meeting, here's how I attack the day. And even beyond that, you need to have SOPs that your reps follow every single day. There needs to be clarity around how to log into the dialer, where their leads are coming from, what the sources look like, the sales process they're followed, how they're going to close people and where they're going to be sent after their close. Everything needs to be laid out with 0 questions and 0 sort of variability that's left up to the reps. Essentially, you want to remove any sort of guesswork and make everything as systematized as possible because you don't want them thinking about anything other than, hey, who do I need to follow up with? Who do I need to close? You don't want them thinking, how do I follow up with this person? How should I approach this conversation? Any of that, that's energy drawn away from them doing what they do best, which is closing deals. And I know what you're thinking, David, if I haven't brought a sales team on board, how do I have these SOPs? Does not need to be perfect from day one, but you want to get things as systematized as possible from the start. As long as you bring them in and there are systems, the sort of culture for the company is, hey, we follow a process, we follow it to a T, and it's the same every day. And that's really important as you scale. Now, it's okay if you don't know certain things because you can tweak the process and you can change things as you go, but you don't want to start with no process because that's going to affect the rest of the team the rest of the time. Because remember, if you wing it from the start, that culture stays, and that's going to affect any new hires or any of your original hires. They're going to remember that's how the business is run. We want them to remember the business as being structured and organized all the way through. That leads directly into our third pillar, which is extremely important, which is make sure that you're cultivating leaders in your team. It's funny, but studies show that what keeps employees around and what creates company loyalty is not the pay, it's more the recognition and feeling at home. People like having status and feeling recognized. And remember, your end goal by bringing a team on board is to outsource yourself as much as possible from the sales role. And yes, you're going to stay sort of top of the pyramid, especially if you're the business owner, right? But you want to start to have leaders form from within that group, within the sales reps that are already coming on board. And so the way you start to cultivate that is you open the floor for questions, right? You let people speak up if they found things that are working or they have certain ideas. And you also promote a culture where everybody holds each other accountable. And the funny thing is that your top leaders are not always going to be your top reps. You're going to have some people who are sort of the lone wolf rep. They're going to just go close deals. They keep to themselves, and that's okay. Let them do their job. But the people you really want to pour into as leaders are the ones who sort of show this propensity to lead the rest of the team, right? They want to help others. They want to, they kind of take ownership of the team. If someone else is slacking off, they'll call them out. Those are the people you want to pour into as leaders, and make it clear to that person that there's an opportunity for them to become a sales manager or a sales leader. There's an opportunity to become more than just a rep. You really want to nurture those people. And if you can give that to those reps, they're going to pay you back tenfold for it. Now, as promised, those three, they work together. So I want to recap them first to make sure you can actually apply them and it doesn't just go in one ear and out the other. And then I'm going to go into the sort of final golden rule, which I think is the single most important thing with building your sales team, but honestly, any team within your company. So first thing, actions speak louder than words. Get in the trenches, work with your team, right? Show that you're not afraid to do the dirty work and be that leading example of this is what's possible, right? These are the expectations. These are the KPIs we're hitting, and the rest of the team will rise to the standard you set for them. Second, remove any sort of guesswork from the sales reps' days. Let them focus all their energy, all their effort into doing what they do best, which is close deals, but make it so they don't have to question, hey, how do I log in? Where are my leads coming from? How do I note things in the CRM? Where should I track things? Where do people go when they close? Remove any sort of guesswork around your offer and the systems that you're going to use when they work on the offer so that they can focus all their effort on working with the people that are coming in and the leads that are coming in and actually converting them. And last thing, really start to lean into and cultivate a sort of company culture where leaders are allowed to grow, right? You don't want anybody to feel capped in one, their income potential, but two, their just growth potential in terms of recognition and the role they play. You want to allow people to sort of rise to the top if they earn it, and you want them to feel like there's a very clear path for them to do that. And that brings me to our final golden rule. This one is an absolute game changer for when you're building teams. And the one thing I always remind myself whenever I'm going into new hires, you need to give every team member a feeling of ownership in the offer. And what I mean is, think about it. There's a reason that the owners of the business are generally the number one closer, even when compared to sales reps who are more skilled. It's because they have a huge amount of conviction and confidence in the offer, and they really believe in what they're doing. And that conviction gets across, and that's why people close. There's literally a term for it. It's called founder selling. And the reason this is so powerful for your sales team especially is it can make up for a lower skill level in terms of the reps if they feel a huge amount of ownership and a huge amount of conviction in that offer. So anytime a rep brings a question to me, I make sure that I answer it. And anytime they bring an idea, I make sure they know that I want to implement it. And anytime they bring a problem, I make sure that they know it's my number one priority to solve it. And I want to reward people taking initiative, doing things that are a little bit outside of just their role as a sales rep, because I know that's them taking more ownership for the offer. And if they do that, they're going to believe in the product more. They're going to go harder on converting people, and they're going to want the offer as a whole to succeed, not just for them to make the maximum amount of money personally. This is how you get diehard team members who will pour everything they have into growing the offer. And that's the key to, startups in Silicon Valley. That's the key to building massive agencies. That's the key to building companies that make a lot of money or change the world. And so you really want to create that feeling of home and ownership where they feel like it's their offer and they're an owner as well. So if you apply those three key things plus that golden rule I gave you, Those are the foundations to building any sort of successful sales team, and that applies to all hiring across the board. So I hope you got a lot of value from that, because that's stuff that took years and years of actually being in the business to really learn. And before you go, I have 3 quick things to ask of you. So first off, 60% of you guys who are watching are not subscribed. So take a second. If you watched this far, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell. If you like the video, leave a like. And if you had any sort of questions or things that you learned, leave that in the comments. I'm really good at replying to those. And that also tells me what types of things are actually resonating with you guys and what types of videos you want to see in the future. So I really appreciate it if you do that. Second thing, if you want help with implementation, or you just want to work with me directly as sort of a consultant, or actually with my team building everything out and helping you get traction with your business, click that link below. You can schedule in and we can sit down and talk. And last thing, if you're looking to build a sales team, odds are you need to get more leads. One of the best ways to do that is with paid advertising. That's our bread and butter. We run Facebook ads, Google ads, and have gotten really, really sharp with those. If you want to learn the sort of foundations to how I do that, I'm going to link a video here, sort of the foundations of my Facebook ad strategy and how we apply it. If you're looking to make sure your reps never run out of calls, that's the place to go. Watch that next. But other than that, thank you for taking the time to watch this. I hope you got a ton of value, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.